Hello and welcome.
Welcome, everybody, to the ISCA Thursday Cup and Super Cup Series here as we tackle the Jay Leno's Garage 200 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is going to be an awesome race. I mean, we got a stacked group out there, Big Al, of guys that are going to be out there, trying to fight and get as much points as they can, of course, and just go out for, glory. I mean, some of these guys aren't even in the playoffs any longer, but they're still going to be trying for sure as we have 134 laps on the docket here tonight. How are you doing, Big Al?
Man, I'm doing outstanding, and I'm going to tell you what, I'm super stoked because, I mean, we got 18 cars in the field tonight, and that's very, very big, especially for a playoff crowd. There's only maybe, how many cars in this thing from the playoffs right now? I'm sure you're going to give us that rundown.
Yeah, I mean, we lost a couple drivers last week, I do believe. I think Chris Johnson and Josh Schaffner are exiting the playoffs there. I do believe Al Kozlowski's still in there. Mark Sanchez, if I'm not mistaken. Jeffrey Souza, Andrew Griesbaum, Don Avery, Clayton Hoffman, I do believe. And Matt DeCiani, of course, Mark Pageant. So still quite a few drivers that are after the gold, and definitely going to be coming at this race. And I think it's all going to be about, a lot of times when it comes to long run, I think that's what it's going to be kind of all about here, tire saving and things of that nature. But, of course, seems like qualifying is underway. I do believe Derek Heitman's already out there. But going to be a long race. I mean, 134 laps, 200 miles. Let's go ahead and bring up the race fact. Of course, stages are going to be 25 and 50, so not too long of a run there, but that will be definitely give these guys a lot of data when it comes to how the car will behave a little bit longer in the run. 5 sets of tires, 4 actually down in the pits. 47 laps is their fuel window. Of course, these guys have a 75% fuel tank. So gas will not really be a concern in the first 2 stages, but when it comes down to that final stage, it will be a concern. These guys are going to end up having to perform green flag pit stops, probably have to do maybe a 40-lap run or something like that. Possibly we'll have to wait and see. There's going to be plenty of room for strategy, though, Big Al.
Yeah, definitely, and that's one of the awesome things about these races like this. Hopefully, green flag conditions will exist and these guys will actually be able to execute their pit strategies. We don't always get to see pit strategies come into fruition, but this track right here at Vegas could allow us to do that. Looking like the track, the ambient air temperature is some 72 degrees, 88 degrees, though, the track temperature with the winds out of the west at 14 miles an hour. Don't know how much of an effect that's going to have on everybody, but, drivers are just going to have to be careful and just kind of manage their tires.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, we've seen it a lot of times in this next-gen car. The tires don't seem to wear at some tracks, but in some tracks they do. Vegas is definitely one that they will wear at. And this is I'd say it is a very much a cookie-cutter track, but it is some guys' favorite racetrack. I mean, because you have that apron that you can kind of go down, and that makes it somewhat like Chicagoland. Definitely is a track where we're going to see a lot of guys, pack racing, I'd say, is going to be the name of the game here tonight. I mean, I watched some guys compete last night. I think it was the NIS, was watching some of those guys out there on the track, and definitely seemed like it was a lot of pack racing, some 2-3 wide action. I think that's exactly what we should expect here tonight.
Yeah, it's a multi-groove racetrack, and you definitely got to take that into account as well as consideration. The talent level here in the ISCA is going to be up there as such because, you got to have a pretty high I rating in order to get into this group. So it is what it is. But that is going to allow us to see some of the best racing that we're going to see. So with that, you're absolutely right. I think we're going to see 2 wide, 3 wide racing because, like I said, this is a multi-groove racetrack.
Yeah, and because it's a 1.5-mile track, you're going to see the clean and dirty air be a big factor, too. You're going to see guys running on the top, running on the bottom, just to try to escape that dirty air that's going to cause the lack of downforce and lack of handling. So you're going to see guys, trying to, I'd say, experiment on each, lane of the track to see what is going to be best for them. Greg Wachinski getting really loose on the entry to 2 there. He comes onto the back stretch. He's going to be losing some time because of that.
I want to see who's out here tonight to just race. You know what I mean? There's guys that have no playoff implications. I want to see the guys that just going to come here tonight and bring it. Now, we've been kind of trapped up a little bit. We had Talladega, then we had the Roval. Just not a track that we could stretch our legs at here for a couple of weeks, man. So tonight that's going to happen, and it's definitely going to be a big deal to see who bought the best setup, because that's what we're gonna be showcasing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who has been tinkering all week and working and getting into the practices down in the trenches, kind of working on it, and getting dirty a little bit, to figure out what works and what doesn't. Those are going to be the guys that are going to shine here this evening. Of course, we have a little bit of under a minute here left in qualifying. Looks like most drivers have completed their laps. I do believe we have 13 qualifiers right now. Let's go ahead and take a step away and play our national anthem, and then we'll come back with today's grid. What do you say, Big Al?
I work for you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn, the acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Alrighty, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have our grid set for this evening's action here. Clayton Hoffman going to be qualifying on the pole, with Andrew Layton going to be starting in second place. Third place is going to be Don Avery. Jeffrey Souza is going to be starting in fourth place. Fifth place is going to be Mark Pageant. Sixth place, Kenny Powell. Seventh place is going to be Andrew Griesbaum. And eighth place, Matt DiCiani. Ninth place, Mark Sanchez. And I do believe that rounding out the top 10 will be Al Kozlowski.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to put John Mullins in P11 with Derek Heitman alongside him in 12th. Greg Wachinski lines up in 13th. He has Brian Johnson on his outside. Chris Severus is going to be sitting there in 15th with Wayne Grossi along his outside. Paul Osen going to be surrounded by Derek Jacobs, and Randy Drumhiller is going to round out this 19-car field, Brian. And I'm going to tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, please buckle up, get ready to go. This first stage is going to be exciting. Drivers are going to be letting it all hang out here as they will have nothing to lose. And then that second stage probably be a little bit more reserved. And then the third stage, maybe drivers will yield for those playoff contenders. But I don't think they're going to yield up to that point, Brian. I mean, there's a lot of dough on the line here tonight.
Yeah, it very much is. I mean, these guys, you know, a very big race here for a lot of these drivers, you know, especially in the playoffs. You know, getting that win and then sealing your way up into the next round is definitely going to be on the minds of most of these drivers out here. You know, like a Clayton Hoffman, you know, we know how he is. He likes to win these races and be comfortable going into the next couple, and I think he's going to be trying to do that. And you know, kind of surprised to see Clayton kind of qualifying out here on the pole. I mean, I kind of suspected someone else would maybe take the pole and he would have good long run pace. We'll have to see how that turns out. Of course, qualifying at a track like Vegas doesn't really make that whole bit of difference when it comes to the actual race pace.
And race pace is going to be the key. And like, you know, these guys are going to be out there for a while. So, yeah, I don't blame Clayton for wanting to get out front of this thing, get ahead of the melee, kind of set the pace. You know, he does have tremendous pace and kind of let drivers chase him, if you will. I just don't know how racy these guys are going to be tonight. I have a feeling they're going to be a lot racy, and that's going to add for some exciting events on the racetrack, but, you know, maybe not so much in favor of those with playoff hopes and aspirations.
Yeah, I think a track like Vegas, just the nature of it kind of gives these guys a lot of confidence, I'd say, because I'm sure on the first few laps they're going to be feeling very grippy. But, you know, as the race goes on, we're going to see, you know, definitely guys start to maybe struggle a little bit on the longer runs. We'll have to see how that kind of progresses. It looks like we are going to be rolling here. Green flag should be coming out here in just a few moments.
So you start thinking about that in terms of, let's like name the different stages of the race like they were, you know, the seven dwarfs. So grippy, that's one of the seven dwarfs. Then you're going to have little wiggles. Then you're going to have big wiggles. Then you're going to have slides up.
That's crazy. You're creating your own fairy tales over here based on our racing.
Well, I mean, but this is what these guys are going to have to contend with, man. It's going to be a lot of things that are going to go on out here tonight that's going to affect the way that car handles. And Dirty Air, don't forget that little nugget, because he's going to be out there too.
Oh yeah, he's going to be the one that's going to be there the whole race. He's not going to leave at any stage. He's going to be there at the end too, as we see of course, the pace car lights are out. We're entering turn 3 and 4. Pace car going to be preparing to drop down pit road here for the first time this evening. And a big shout out to our partners there at UXO and TLC for coming on board for this season. As here we go, the pace car going to be taking that left turn. And as we enter the Geico restart zone, Clayton Hoffman with the field in hands and the green flag is going to wave out in the air.
Ooh,
oh, bad start for Andrew Layton.
There. Andrew Layton definitely off the pace there. That caused a huge checkup. Kenny Powell going to have to go by him on the outside. That caused a 3-wide condition right there at the start. It is still sorting itself out here as that top line did not get going at all, Brian.
I'm wondering if he was possibly in the wrong gear, because, I mean, it just seems like he just did not get the bite he needed to get going.
Yeah, whatever it was, you know, and it kind of does make you wonder, because these cars are sequential, so it's not like you have an H pattern or whatever. But yeah, that is kind of makes you wonder what actually took place.
See Greg Wachinski starting to work his way up through the field. He's now up into 7th place. He just passed by John Mullins, but here comes Jeffrey Souza on the inside of John Mullins. Souza's going to even try to tackle Greg Wachinski as he just slides up there in front of that 64.
Yeah, there goes Andrew Layton around the outside. He's got Al Koslowski on the inside. That's a little bit of a 3-wide as they come around to the start-finish line. That just lets you know that this is a multi-groove racetrack, and I think Layton now is starting to get his legs underneath him a little bit, so he's going to get in that go, baby, go mode.
A little bit of a loose condition I'm seeing from Al Koslowski there. On the bottom of the track, he just looked like he was a little out of sorts, but looks like he's going to try to come back up here and battle with Layton.
Yeah, look at how much that race car is moving up and down the racetrack, though. You know, he is definitely doesn't seem like he has got more of a laser guided precision, but just seems like he's just kind of along for the ride, at least right now. A lot of
And he
these
kind of
others-
looked like that in practice, to be honest with you. I was watching Al in practice a little bit, and he just seemed like he was little, not handling very well.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are going to be fighting handling woes, and we'll be watching that as we go through this thing. But right now, it looks like Clayton Hoffman is leading the field. Still kind of got the thing kind of grouped together, but it's starting to look like we got 3 separate packs that are going on. It goes from Clayton to Griesbaum, then it goes from Powell to Kozlowski. So, we just kind of got to watch and see how this plays out. Now Wachinski comes down low underneath the 31 of Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, some big moves from Wachinski. He has been making moves this entire race. Has now worked his way up into, I do believe, 6th place. As Souza has been following him right through. As now they come up on Kenny Powell. So Greg Wachinski probably going to feel a little torn here. Do I push him or do I try to get around him?
Yeah, Brian Johnson staying way to the back here. I think he kind of maybe got a little bit, emotionally offended, I guess would be the best thing to say here. I don't think he was happy with what had happened the last time. So he is going to stay way to the back here just to kind of stay out of everything. And you really can't blame him at that point. Randy Drumhiller also kind of hanging back in the back. And they're going to be following the lead of the 27 of Derek Jacobs. So I hadn't seen Derek Jacobs in a while, but good to have him back out here running because he is definitely one of the younger guys here in this Thursday night series. But we're going to watch him grow as well, Brian.
See some battling going on here as Al Kozlowski working his way on the inside, able to get by Mark Sanchez. So Sanchez starting to struggle a little bit here in the 7 laps. We're now into this race. Andrew Layton trying to maybe work his way around him, but Jeffrey Souza and Greg Wachinski battling right now for the 6th place position.
Yeah, Souza definitely holding that inside low line right there, and Wachinski definitely being higher, hoping to get the drive off there. And you can see how much drive off he is getting just by pinching Souza down there. Now, as they go back into turns 3 and 4, it's a little bit of a different story. So Souza just going to have to get resituated, and then maybe he'll be able to get the drive off that he needs to be able to close the deal.
Yeah, it looks like Greg Wachinski was able to kind of fight off Souza's charge here, but here comes Al Kozlowski. We were talking about him having some handling woes. It looked like he might have gotten them somewhat corrected. Could have been in the early runs his car maybe was having some handling woes, but once he gets the tires up to a temp, seems like it's not as bad.
Yeah, you got to watch the slide up and you got to watch the pinch down, and that's what's gonna. If these guys can manage that once they're racing in and amongst each other, going through those turns, it's gonna be okay. Because some guys are gonna try to go low, go high rather, to get that drive off, and you kind of want to pitch the guy down low.
I'll tell you what, I expect some big things from Kenny Powell tonight. I know I was talking to him a little bit the last couple of days. He's been running some at Vegas and the officials, and he's been saying, he felt like his car was really, really strong. He's been enjoying it. I know he got a 3rd place yesterday, I do believe, so expect some big things out of that 24 camp tonight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. With 10 laps in this stage right here, though, looks like everybody's just kind of falling in order, if you will.
Yeah, it looks like Greg Wachinski has gotten passed by Jeffrey Souza now, and now he's just going to be trying to hold off Al Kozlowski. And it could be that Wachinski was driving it a little too hard in the beginning. I think that could be a likely story that, he was driving it too hard, got his stuff a little bit over temperatured. It's hard to get that temp out once you get it in there in the tire.
Yeah, especially in the tires, because you don't get an opportunity really to cool those things off when you're on that 1.5 miles.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of forces acting on these tires as we see some battling going on a little bit further back. I think you believe Derek Heitman trying to get around John Mullins here, the 64. So let's keep an eye on this battle. I do believe that is for 11th place. Of course, this is not for playoffs. I don't believe either one of these guys are eligible.
Mark Sanchez falling way off the pace, man. He is running 33.471 on that last lap. Not sure what's going on with that. Maybe he made contact with the wall or whatever, or he's just trying to get out of the frying pan, if you will.
Yeah, and we've seen Sanchez look really, really strong as of late, and it just does not seem like a character. You know, this is not like Sanchez to have these kind of issues.
Well, he's already.
He is having some problems. He is getting loose. I do believe he's now. Yeah, I thought he was maybe going to be coming down pit road, unscheduled stop, but no, he's still out on the racetrack.
Yeah, just
very
way
slow right now.
Pace.
He is not up to speed at all.
Yeah, that last lap was over, 36 seconds. So not sure what's going on. We'll just have to keep monitoring that. But right now, Clayton Hoffman's still doing what he needs to do. Only 0.2 of a second of a lead over P2, as that first pack still is really tight.
Yeah, I mean, we still see Greg Wyszynski trying to battle back with Andrew Layton, but Layton utilizing that top side, he's getting a lot of momentum up there, and that's not surprising. Vegas is definitely a track to where you can kind of use that top groove a little bit. I'm just curious on what that's doing to the tires, though.
Yeah, Kenny Powell now finding himself up into the top 5 as he just bested Andrew Griesbaum, and that's going to put him up in P4 right now.
Yeah, Griesbaum gets passed by Jeffrey Souza there. Definitely a great attempt for Griesbaum. I think he might have just overheated his tires a little bit. Of course, he is one of the guys that wants to do as best as he can so he can get as many playoff points as he can. As we now have, I do believe, going to be verging on 9 laps to go here in the stage. Al Kozlowski able to work his way around the 5 of Greg Wyszynski.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Don Avery, though. Looks like he's up there holding on in P2 right behind the 92 of Clayton Powell. Which is Clayton Hoffman, sorry. Did I say Clayton Powell?
You did. You definitely did.
That's a hybrid. Yeah, but Don Avery up there running in the top 3. That's definitely got to be making him feel pretty good with Mark Padgett right behind him. And these guys are definitely real close together here. Hoffman not getting the direct dominant run that I thought he was going to get here in P1, or maybe he's just trying to keep them close.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. He's running only as hard as he needs to keep those guys behind him. But, still, you're right. Avery's been doing a fantastic job. It's been staying right there with Clayton, Mark Padgett. We've seen, this is not really a big surprise, really, to see Avery doing this well. We've seen him, steadily, as the seasons have been progressing, he's been getting better.
What we did see, though, we just saw Greg Wyszynski, and he is still continuing to fall back in the field right now. We got him in P11, but Wayne Grassi is going to be trying to come by him on the inside, and that's going to put him all the way back to P12.
Yeah, tire fall off is starting to be a real concern here for a lot of drivers, too. 31.3 last time from our leader, Clayton Hoffman. These guys started out hitting 30.2. So, that's over a second of fall off already, and we're only just getting ready to cross over to 20 laps into this event as we see Matt DeCiani and Al Kozlowski.
Yeah, with 5 laps to go in this thing, Clayton Hoffman is definitely going to start to reel in Mark Sanchez. So you're going to have Hoffman and Avery Padgett. They're going to be coming. There's no way at this point that the 31 is going to be able to stave this off. So it's going to be interesting to see what line he takes in order to avoid it as the one of Matt DeCiani slides by Al Kozlowski. Kozlowski's still not over in danger as he is sliding back, suffering a similar fate that of Greg Wyszynski. For whatever reason, these guys are going the wrong way in the order, Brian.
Oh, wow, that's a very scary moment there for Al Kozlowski. I feel like he's getting really tight. Being in that dirty air, I think, is not helping that car out at all.
Dirty air, that's another one of those little dwarfs.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely out there and present. Now 5 laps to go, soon to be 4 to go here in the stage. And I do believe Clayton Hoffman looking really strong. Was faster than everybody on the track that last time by, 31.5 versus 31.7s.
Yeah, but when you start looking at the fastest overall times, though, Clayton not being the dominating factor at all, not having the fastest time yet. So this is still open for grabs here. I just think that it's too early. A lot of drivers trying to figure it out here in stage 1. A lot of drivers are going to be making adjustments, I do believe, because I think maybe they might have I don't know. They got to change something up.
Yeah. Someone who really desperately needs to change something up is Mark Sanchez. He has just gotten put a lap down So he's going to be desperate to maybe make some changes, and I do believe he will have the lucky dog, so good for him.
Yeah, currently Mark Sanchez, the only driver being shown a lap down in this competition or contest, however you would like to say it. So good on him for that. As Wayne Grossi makes his way around Matt DeCiani, and that's going to put Grossi up into 9th place if he can actually hold off on that pass, make it complete, and that's going to be pretty good for anybody looking for stage points, right?
Yeah, Wayne Grossi has definitely been shining a lot lately. I mean, I know for a couple weeks there we didn't see him because of, I think, some technical difficulties, but I think he's back out here on the racetrack.
Well, sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but yeah, he actually did hit me up via message, and it was not technical difficulties. It was not a new rig. It was actually Hurricane Ian, so that was the reason why. Those were his technical difficulties. He was actually battling a hurricane, so that's the reason why he wasn't present. So still, man, prayers sent to everybody involved in that as we are now getting ready to get stage 1 in the books here. As soon as we can get these guys back around here this time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, but he's definitely been showing a lot of pace, that's for sure, as we see Mark Sanchez kind of complicating things up a little bit back here as guys are trying to work their way around as we come to the final timer. We are should be having the checker, the yellow flag coming out anytime for stage 1.
Yeah, that's right, Brad. I do believe stage 1 is officially going to be in the books. It should be already done.
Yeah, I think the 10th place car has to cross the line, but I'm pretty sure they already have. And
yeah, they have.
The caution. So Clayton Hoffman going to be your stage 1 winner with Don Avery in 2nd place, Mark Pageant in 3rd, 4th place Kenny Powell, 5th place Jeffrey Souza, 6th place Derek Heitman, 7th place Andrew Layton, 8th place Andrew Griesbaum, and 9th place Wayne Grossi, and rounding out our top 10, Matt DeCiani. So those are the points-paying positions here in stage number 1. Now it's time for all these guys to go down pit road, get some adjustments in, get some fresh tires on that machine, maybe look at that data and talk to, confer with your team a little bit. Hey, what do we need?
Yeah, definitely a lot of teams are going to have to get back to the drawing board on this one and figure out what they can do to make the adjustments to keep them in this thing. I mean, and the good thing is, like I said, only one driver that's a lap down, and that is the 31 of Mark Sanchez. But with that, let's go ahead and take us a step away, get a word from our sponsors, guys, and we'll be right back.
Quick Detailer from J&L's Garage is perfect for wiping away smudges, fingerprints, any kind of dirt and grime. The most important part, and this is my favorite, is when people come up to you and tell you your 20-year-old car looks brand new. That's priceless.
All righty, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We got everybody sitting on pit road right now. I do believe should be coming off any moment. We'll probably be able to hopefully maybe speak with our stage 1 winner, Big Al, can we?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get Clayton Hoffman dialed up. If anybody else you want to talk to.
Well, let's talk to Mark Sanchez if we can. Let's see what's going on with that cam, because there's something was definitely seemed like it was wrong with that machine. Mark Sanchez, hopefully we're not bothering you right now. We just figured we'd give you a chat. I know you're probably getting your lucky dog right now. Kind of walk us through what was going on with the race car there.
Oh, I left my qualifying setup in, so I'm going to make some major adjustments here, see if I can't salvage something out of this.
That is unfortunate, man, to hear. We knew something had to be wrong with that race car. I mean, how disappointed do you think that makes you? I know I do believe you're in the chase for the championship, aren't you?
Yeah, I put so much work into this week because, my only chance probably to make it the next round is a win. And to have this happen is just pretty much devastating.
Yeah, definitely got to be devastating, man. Well, I know, I know you're probably disappointed and want to try to get to work on fixing that machine and getting it, worked on. Hopefully, whatever you can do to it helps it out, man. Can we get a quick shout out from you? Because I know you, like you said, you've been working hard on it. Anybody you want to shout out?
Oh, my teammates, Matt, and Derek. They've been helping me now trying to get this thing fixed up.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Mark, and hopefully everything gets better for you. Hopefully, nothing drastic happens. We saw you having a bunch of handling difficulties. Hopefully, you're able to fix that, and we'll hopefully see you at the end of this thing.
Yeah, hopefully. It's good for the first 5 laps. But that's about it.
I bet it is. It's a qualifying setup. Well, thanks for your time, Mark. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
That was Mark Sanchez, the driver of the 31. Unfortunate, leaving that qualifying setup on. I mean, I would, try to rag on him a little bit there, Big Al, but that has happened to every single one of us, hasn't it?
Yep. It's happened to me before. To the people that don't understand that, the Q set or the qualifying setup, as we call it, man, is super fast. But the byproduct of that is it's only fast for 3, 4, 5 laps tops, and then the tires are going to be worn out. In these cars, you don't have an issue of the tape where it's going to actually blow the engine up. But right now, his handling, his springs, everything has to be adjusted in order to set this car up so he can actually drive it. Like you said, it's going to be fast for 5.
Yeah, one thing that's so unfortunate about that whole situation is, like you said, you can adjust the springs and the tire pressures, but not much else. I mean, that's all. That's about it. I mean, when you're in the actual race car itself and going down pit road, there's only so much you can, do. Whenever you're actually building the setup before the session, that's what's so disappointing, I think, for him, because he said he put a lot of work into his car, and to have something like that, take all that work and just make it for nothing. Just got to be feeling so disappointed, and hopefully he's able to kind of move, look forward. And I think that's the big thing he's going to have to try to do here. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I just wrecked Clayton.
I even heard him, kind of the desperation kind of he was showing there, saying that, I'm in almost a must-win situation to move on to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. And a lot of these drivers are going to be facing the same thing, because the hardest thing to do is going to be able to transfer without a win. And right now, he didn't even get a top 10 in that last round. He got a top 19. So,
well, here we go. The pace car lights are out. We're soon to be dipping down pit road to get the green flag here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. There's going to be some gambling out there. People are going to be trying to get their chips and cash in as we enter the Geico restart zone.
Okay,
flag will be
bumping
waving.
Don Avery. Don Avery sleeping just a little bit there, I think, more out of protest that he was getting nudged by the 24. Don't think he really liked that too much. But look at Mark Paget on the inside trying to secure that position. But who's not sticking around? Clayton Powell. Clayton Powell again. Yeah, I know, right? Clayton Hoffman getting his sneakers nice and warmed up, and he is starting to put that lead on that I was expecting to see earlier in the first stage.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, a little bit of a shorter run here. Of course, this stage concludes on lap 50 going to 51. As we see, I do believe Kenny Powell trying to hold off Derek Heitman. Heitman has been on the move here, charging, as he's now fighting, trying to get into the top 5. And also Jeffrey Souza trying to get around him also. So a big battle going on here right on the edge of the top 5.
And Kenny Powell now moves himself up into the top 3 as he is actually able to get around the outside of the 11 of Don Avery. Avery's still going to be trying to fight for that position as they come down the backstretch. I don't think he's going to be able to make it happen, but he's still going to be there. He's got Jeffrey Souza right behind him with Derek Heitman, who is definitely, like you said, he literally came from the back of the pack and made himself all the way up here, and we are now calling his name in the top 10. He's still in 6th right now.
Kenny Powell, though, but Andrew Griesbaum into the outside wall, coming onto the front backstretch here.
And there's Mark Paget to go by Clayton Hoffman for the lead. I got Clayton's name right that time.
You did it. Yay. Now I'm going to start calling him Clayton Powell now because you keep saying it. Oh, but what a move there from Mark Paget, taking over the lead here on lap 33.
Yeah, and look at the 14 of Sousa pushing Avery. Avery's sitting shoved around down there tonight. I don't know. Obviously, I don't think he's enjoying it too much, but, man, these guys are definitely getting some runs now. He probably appreciates it a little bit more coming from the 14 of Sousa than he does the 24 of Powell. We're just going to have to work that out, but
Clayton Hoffman going really high there on the exit of 4. That's going to give Kenny Powell some help here. And Don Avery starting to do a little bit of a bumping on his own, pushing Kenny Powell by Clayton Hoffman.
Now Hoffman, for whatever reason, has gotten out of the dance line. Now he is going to be struggling to maintain 5th place as he's got the 14 of Jeffrey Souza is going to be coming right down the inside. But Andrew Griesbaum right behind them here. So don't know what's going on there with the old 92 of Hoffman. We're just going to have to figure it out and kind of watch and see what's happening.
Yeah, this is very interesting that he's doing this. I mean, he was able to easily keep the lead in that last stage, but something has changed. Maybe a mistake when it comes to an adjustment, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to put themselves back into the pack, though. You know what I mean? They want to be more where Mark Padgett is right now. That's out front. I think he's singing that song, I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
Al karaoke.
Yeah, it's always going to happen.
Karaoke. I don't even know how to say it. I'm just trying to be funny, but nope. Here comes Kenny Powell. Trying to catch up there to Mark Padgett. Look at Don Avery looking for any hole he can get through.
Yeah, because he knows he's got the 14 of Souza right behind him, and he is not going to spare any chance whatsoever on Powell. So I don't think Powell's going to get any love from the 11. I think the 11 is just going to be trying to maintain his position on the podium here, Brian. As stage 2, completely different than stage 1. Kind of got like we shook that Coke up and opened it, and it just kind of exploded everywhere on us.
Yeah, it definitely did. I feel like we're playing a game of Guess Who on the racetrack out here tonight. As we see Andrew Griesbaum trying to fight his way around Clayton Hoffman.
Yeah, Hoffman tried to maintain that low line on the inside, and Griesbaum was running high, but like you said, the deficit or the delta of that was he did make a little bit of contact with the wall. Doesn't seem like it's going to affect him much, as he's going to keep that 78 forward there in the wind.
Also, we got some moves going on for second place. Don Avery sliding right up in front of Kenny Powell as Jeffrey Souza has the best seat in the house.
Yeah, why don't we ride along with Souza a little bit just so we can kind of get a little bit of idea of what it's looking like where these guys are, because they have been shuffling back and forth, and I think it's just a matter of time before Avery starts to try to pull in the 2 of Mark Padgett, and these 2 are definitely going to be battling. But I think we're going to probably see the 11 of Avery up on top of this thing, leading this race in before the stage is over.
Definitely could be a something that happens. But speaking of the stage being over, we only have 10 laps to go when we cross the line here, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see the 11 trying to break up the draft of the 2, trying to do anything he can to try to make that more of a level playing field, because he has now got a little bit more of a lead over the 24, because Kenny Powell now is going to be getting shoved by the 14 of Jeffrey Souza. That's going to be happening here momentarily. It's the 78 of Griesbaum still holding that high line.
Oh, you saw Kenny Powell got really loose there on the exit, kept it pointed in the right direction. Good save for him. I mean, barely even was noticeable until I saw him. He almost went sideways for a moment. Souza probably lost a little bit of time because of that, had to let up off the gas, but you can tell Souza is looking for any way to get around Kenny Powell. I mean, he is running in a place that's probably very apparent in Kenny Powell's mirror, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's another one of those doors, little wiggles.
Yeah, to think about it, too, I mean, a track like this, being in someone's rearview mirror is so valuable. I mean, you want to always be right there, ever present in their mind. Keep them from focusing forward.
Yeah, look at how high Clayton Hoffman is going on the track there, as he is now bested Andrew Griesbaum. Griesbaum now falling back. That's going to put him in 6th place. Hoffman now back up into the top 5. We can see him, and just like that, Don Avery, just like I said, is up leading this thing. But the question is he going to have enough to stave off Clayton Powell, who seems to be on his run right about now, Brian?
Yeah, that old Clayton Powell, he is killing him out there.
Clayton Hoffman. Did I say Powell again?
Yeah, you did.
Jesus.
It's like a meme now. It's starting to become a meme.
Yes, because he's right there beside Kenny, you know what I mean? Kenny and Clayton, you know.
Kenny Hoffman, side by side.
They're my Krispy Kreme brothers. Now Clayton Hoffman
gets right
is
by
going to be on the Clayton Hoffman now going to be on the inside of Jeffrey Souza. See, I got his name right.
I remember when I first saw Jeffrey Sousa's name, I thought his name was Geoffrey or something. I'll tell you what, definitely interesting for sure. Is Mark Pageant trying to work his way up, but look at Clayton go. I mean, I think that he, in a lot of ways, flipped a switch. I think that might have been according to plan for him. He was like, I'm going to save some tires for the first 5 laps and then get after it. But I mean, I don't think he's going to win this stage though.
Well, I don't know about that, as he has definitely got a heat seeker dialed in on the leader of Donna Avery, so it's just a matter of time. The only thing saving Donna Avery right now is he's got the 2 of Mark Pageant behind him, between him and the 92 of Clayton Hoffman. But here comes Clayton, and I think that's going to be the song that we're going to be playing here for the remainder of this thing. But looks like the 31 still can't get his woes figured out, as he is still struggling there, Brian. The only driver that's running sub 32 laps.
I absolutely love Clayton's line right now. He is running the fence. I mean, he is literally right inches off of the wall in 3 and 4. He is doing a Larson line, and it's working for him. It is absolutely working.
As he has gobbled up the distance between he and the 2 of Mark Pageant. Now he's going to get to run around the high side of Pageant. Pageant really can't do anything about this except for watch the 92 of Clayton Hoffman go. And Don Avery is going to hope that he has enough left in his tank, as we are 3 laps to go. 2 laps to go coming across the line, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hold off the run of the 92 of Clayton Hoffman.
This is something magical, watching Clayton go around that top side. I mean, it is a sight to see, because I mean he gets so close to it. I mean, you'd think he's racing at Darlington right now.
Yeah, he's making it work. I mean, and that's what he's dialed in for. So hopefully he can get by the 11 of Avery without any contact.
Yeah, I think Don Avery's going to be doing absolutely everything he can to keep Clayton Hoffman back there. Now going to be 2 laps to go here in the stage, and here comes Hoffman.
Yeah, I don't think Avery's going to have enough to hold him off, as Hoffman has definitely kind of put himself in a different category now, running a completely different line.
Whoa, Avery loose.
That's big wiggles.
Avery almost just completely lost it there, almost had to take a trip down there to the apron, but luckily he was able to get it kind of corrected, still finds himself up in 3rd place. But here comes Mark Pageant taking advantage.
Yeah, Avery is going to be hoping that right now he can actually stay on the podium there, because that little misstep did actually cost Clayton to kind of get out of it. And I don't know, if I could just get there onto the 92's radio, I'd say, quit playing with your food.
I don't know. I think that maybe Clayton running that absolute top line, as beautiful as it was, it could be burning those tires up quite a bit, and it could be losing a little bit of pace. I know that usually when you run the top line at Big Al, you get real loose.
Well, he still definitely had the not the fastest of the 3 there, but he's still up there among the fastest. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out here.
Some smoke on the racetrack there.
We got the 31.
Caution is out for the stage number 2 here. That was, yeah, did you see that 27. Smoke? Could have been for sure. Well, we see Mark Pageant is going to claim the stage 2 victory. Clayton Hoffman going to finish in 2nd place. Don Avery in 3rd. Derek Heitman works his way all the way up to 4th place. 5th place, Kenny Powell. 6th place, Jeffrey Sousa. 7th, Al Kozlowski. 8th place, Greg Wachinski. 9th place, Andrew Layton. And then rounding out our top 10, Matt DeCiani. So that's crazy. DeCiani finished 10th in both of those stages, I do believe.
Yeah, just kind of holding on where it needs to be, and congratulations to Mark Sanchez for not losing a lap on that one. So now he can actually get his damage fixed and still stay up on the lead lap with everybody else. But congratulations to Mark Pageant taking the damn win on the stage. That's awesome for him. I know he earned it. And also to Don Avery for actually pulling a podium out of that thing. I did call that he was going to lead some laps, and he did. So kudos to him. And with that, hey, you know what? Let's just take another brief step away, talk to a couple more sponsors, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band. Maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so talking, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back as we are going to be entering stage number 3. Mark Pageant was your stage 2 winner. Great job to him. Clayton Hoffman, of course, won stage 1. But I do believe, Big Al, you got a decision to make. Who we talking to?
Looks like I'm talking to Mark Pageant because he's up in the booth. Mark Pageant, this is Big Al, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Well, we're doing pretty awesome, man. But watching the moves that you made right there, because Don Avery kind of got himself in a little bit of a situation, you were actually able to utilize that to your advantage, get around Clayton Hoffman. That's no small feat, man, and actually claim that stage 2 victory. So how you feeling down there tonight?
Yeah, I got a pretty good car. Clayton helped me out there a little bit by getting in the wall, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I probably got a second or third place car at the moment.
Well, awesome. So tell us this: is there any benefit to having clean air down there, or is it just it doesn't really not matter?
Well, if my tire wear is any indication, yeah, that's a big advantage. My tire wear was way better, and I only led half that stage, so I think it's a huge advantage to be out front.
So speaking of tire wear, is that something that you're actually having to be very cognizant of, especially with this longer stage coming up? Are your tires really falling off a lot?
Yeah, it's more of just don't abuse them. If you really go after it for 10 or 15 laps, you're going to be sliding around lap 15 on. So just trying to manage, be fast, but don't be too fast. Don't slide your tires. Don't abuse your right front or your right rear. That's the name of the game this week.
Awesome, man. And it looks like you're doing a pretty awesome job. We're going to let you get back to it down there, but just appreciate you and what you're doing, man. So before we let you go, who we're going to give a shout out to for your stage 1 win? Stage 2, sorry.
Yeah, thanks for the Triad team. Lots of hours went into this. Last week while I was running and practicing the oval, the team was working hard on this set. So thanks everybody that pitched in, helped, and we got a good set this week. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be able to see you on the podium at the end of this thing. Maybe you'll have better than a third or second place car. As the lights are out, we're going to let you go, man. Thank you for your time, and good luck to you, sir.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Of course, that was Mark Pageant, our stage 2 winner. Great job to him for sure. But now here comes the real race. This is when it really begins. This is when all the strategies start to play out, Big Al. This is when I think my favorite part of the race begins.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're going to be speculating on the hopes of having green flag pit stops. Right now, we started this race with 19 participants. We're down to 17. All 17 are on the lead lap. Mark Sanchez probably being the biggest of those, having the biggest issues because he is running his Q set. But right now, Brian, this thing could be anybody's. We only had one caution. Not even sure if we got down to the bottom of who created that.
I think that was a stage caution. I'm pretty sure. I don't think a caution actually did come out for the smoke that we did see.
Wow, look at that. We just talked right through the second stage.
Well, here we go, though. Stage number 3 beginning as they enter the Geico restart zone. Mark Pageant's going to stack them up. And here we are, green flag. And he gets a nice jump there. But that was about the best start I think we've seen all night right there. That because, I mean, we saw a lot of guys on the top line just not getting a really good launch. But Clayton definitely did a good job of keeping everybody right there with him, too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got Don Avery right there with him right now. Kenny Powell kind of getting squeezed down on the low side. He's going to have to figure out what he's going to want to do, and Avery's still going to stay high. Now, we saw Clayton run that high line, like you said, and you were giving him that Larson line, if you will, but it cost him. It cost him contact with the wall. So it'll be interesting to see if he continues to run that high line, or if he's just going to kind of fall into line, if you will.
I think that could have just been an experiment on his part, and I think he saw some success. So I think he's going to keep that in his tool bag. Right now, he seems like he's running, kind of what you would call the normal line around this place. But look at Derek Heitman, now up into second place. This guy started in the back and is now up in second, and at a crucial moment in the race that he needs to be up here.
Yeah, very much so. I just hope that he can close the deal today, because Heitman, tremendous pace throughout the season, but he just has trouble closing the deal. So we're going to be watching him, seeing what he can turn that second place current position into, as Don Avery now has Al Keselowski pulled right back up on him. Keselowski going to go low there, as he is making himself up into the top 5 for the first time here tonight, Brian.
Yeah, I think Avery's having a little bit of handling difficulties there, as that's what's allowing kind of Al Keselowski to get up there and tussle with him. But here comes Avery. He's starting to move a little bit better here. Of course, the first 5 laps are what's most important for the rest of your run. So looks like Avery's might be burning him up a little bit running up here to the top.
Well, he's going to do what he can to try to stay up there, and that's the problem. Sometimes you can get so tunnel visioned, if you will, into trying to stay up front that you just forget what your real race pace is. And I think that's what these guys got to do. Is Clayton Hoffman now kind of slowing back and kind of getting back there. That's going to allow Keselowski in the 4th place, and he's going to be pushing the heck out of Don Avery. And we're just going to have to sit back and watch and see how this one plays out.
I'm loving this, though. I feel like a lot of these guys have stepped up to the plate. Usually when we see Clayton Hoffman at a track like this, he's driving away. That's what we see. But that's not what we're seeing here tonight. We're seeing guys that are stepping up to the plate, and they're able to race right with them. How much of a confidence booster does that have to be for some of these drivers?
Oh, yeah. Anytime that you can have Clayton Hoffman in your rearview mirror and it's not on pit road, that's an awesome place to be. So, yeah, definitely going to be a confidence booster for a lot of these drivers, especially going into the playoffs. Because, some of these guys, they don't have anything to lose. That's what Mark Sanchez is really reeling, because he knows exactly what it's going to cost him. It's going to cost him, the possibility of even having a contention for the championship.
You see Kenny Powell now fighting up on the top side here against Clayton Hoffman. But Mark Pageant, you asked him in his interview, talking about the tires and stuff like that, and versus the clean air versus dirty air. He said, hey, my tires felt better when I was in clean air. Well, guess where he's at right now?
Oh, yeah, he's in clean air. 64 John Mullins now up to 8th place. He's in 7th place. He's going to get past Jeffrey Souza right there. These two going to be battling for what is 7th place, and that's a good op for him, as he was started towards the back of the field as well.
Yeah, and Andrew Layton, of course, started towards the front. So we've seen, kind of the whole. The hourglass has gotten turned over, I'd say, wouldn't you? As Jeffrey Souza trying to battle there with the 64. We haven't even seen John Mullins hardly all race or yet mentioned him, but now here we are mentioning him now as he finds himself up in, like you said, that now 8th place position, battling, or actually no 7th place, because he just got by Jeffrey Souza, and now he's trying to fight with Clayton Hoffman.
Yeah, I think Clayton's just in the ride-along program, though I don't think he is. He understands what he needs to do and what his race strategy is, and that's what you get when you're dealing with a guy like Clayton Hoffman, because he's a consummate professional, so he knows, how to run his own race. Now, Paget said himself, that tire degradation and tire wear was a deal. I just don't know if he's holding back enough to actually save tires for himself, as Keselowski now making himself up, and he's going to want to be wanting to get his share of the lead here, probably within the next half lap or so.
Well, I think that's why Al Keselowski was able to catch Mark Pageant, because I think Pageant is saving. I think he is just kind of in that, I'm just going to only go as fast as I need to, and if Al starts to press the issue, he's probably going to let him go, I'd say. Yeah,
but the value of clean air being what it is, I don't know. I don't know if you pass that torch. I think you fight for it as much as you can and hope that you can make Keselowski burn his equipment up trying to get around you, and then you still actually have enough benefit in the clean air to pull away.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
As Mullins now makes his way up into the top 5 as he slides by Kenny Powell on the inside. But I would not get worried. And I would tell my driver, don't get worried. If anything, we're okay sliding back to that second pack. If anything, that first pack might get a little bit too racy. And the key right now is setting yourself up for your pit road shenanigans, if you will. You got, I mean, that's what you're looking at. That's the next major muscle movement here in this race. You just got to be caution avoidance and tire management.
Very interesting the way this racing is. I mean, it does look very reminiscent of a super speedway, and you don't get to see that a lot in these next gen cars at these mile and a halves. But I mean, it does seem that way. I mean, we see Kenny Powell up there by himself, getting passed by Clayton Hoffman and Jeffrey Souza there on the bottom, kind of working together.
Speaking of getting past, Mark Paget actually passed by Al Koslowski as we are halfway through this thing. Al Koslowski is going to take his share now. He is going to be our leader, and we'll be watching to see how this unfolds as Derek Heitman has himself up in third place, and he is going to be chomping at the bit to get around the two of Paget so he can maybe get his share of the lead as well.
Yeah, definitely a great job for Al Koslowski to get up here into the lead. He's been showing pace all race long. So not surprised, he definitely needs a good finish here tonight. He's been doing good last few races for sure, but I think that he needs to keep that momentum up. But Derek Heitman not done either. He's going to be trying to maybe get by Mark Paget. And now Paget, we were just talking about him trying to, use that clean air, not going to have that anymore. He's going to probably being out in the clean air and then going to the dirty air, probably a little bit of a culture shock for him a little bit when it comes to how that car's handling now. Probably a little bit tighter on him.
Yeah, he's been back there before. He's just got to maintain his poise and his concentration as Clayton Hoffman now gets by the 64 Mullins. So I think Mullins got up to as high as he's going to get. Now it seems like he has actually found the tail of the dragon he was chasing. So he is actually going to start to slip back a little bit. But yeah, you're right. Paget now slipping back to third place as well. He just has to maintain and manage his own race car.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like this is all according to plan for Clayton Hoffman, because he kind of did this in stage number 2 to where he fell back. And then all of a sudden, just one lap, he just started going fast again and started catching up. And I think that's exactly what he's doing right now. Would not be surprised to see him start to really catch up to these guys. Of course, there is still quite a bit of distance, and these guys are now coming up on lap traffic. And I do believe that is Mark Sanchez.
That is going to be the 31 of Mark Sanchez, and hopefully he'll be able to let the field go by without impeding him too much. And just, sorry for Sanchez because he just did not get his car set up the right way. But, I guarantee you he won't have that happen again. He'll check it twice, 5 times next race, but it might be too late.
Yeah, definitely could very well be the case as we see Kenny Powell trying to make moves on Andrew Layton here. Layton trying to make moves on John Mullins. So still some battling going on right here in the top 10, 7th, 8th, and 9th right now, kind of under fire. Also see Wayne Grossi. He's been having a quiet race. Looked really strong in stage 1. Haven't really seen a whole lot of him here in this final stage. We'll have to see if he can maybe change that. Of course, go ahead.
He's been eating, but he has not been getting steak, to say the least. He's just been sitting there kind of picking up the toaster leavings, if you will. So be interesting to see if he can get that 7 pointed in the right direction. It's good to also see him back with his original paint scheme there. That 7 Pennzoil car kind of gives us a lot more to cheer for because we can get behind a guy like Wayne Grossi in his pursuit here of excellence, especially trying to get to the next round.
Look at that. We have a battle going on for the lead as we've been speaking. Al Koslowski's under fire from Derek Heitman as he tries to pass on the top side. But looks like Al's been doing a good job of defending. We'll have to see how long that lasts here as Heitman's going to get a good run on the exit onto the backstretch, and I think he's got it. Mark Paget going to take advantage and slide right on by, but still that second position, under review, I'd say. But because these guys are fighting side by side, Big Al, they're starting to slow down, which is causing Clayton Hoffman to catch up.
Yeah, also, we see a guy, Andrew Layton, who has also kept his car consistent and conservative. And look at where he's at, Brian. He is up to 7th place. Remember, he started in P2. Kind of
Oh,
did get a good.
problems here. I do believe Mark Pageant just smacked the wall. Everybody had to try to get out of the way. Let's take a quick rewind on that, Big Al. I want to see that again. Take a look back at this and see exactly what happened. Had these guys searching for ways to get out of it. It was a very dramatic little pattern here we just saw. Let's see. I think Mark Pageant gets a little close to Big Al, or not Big Al, Al Kozlowski, and then gets up into the wall. Everybody scrambles to try to figure out a way to get around him. Luckily, I don't think that's too much damage. I don't think he broke the toe, but it still could affect the handling there, Big Al.
Yeah, he's going to have to definitely wait. And also, we see the 27 of Derek Jacobs. He's down on pit road. Not sure what that's about because it's way too early to be pitting here, as the green flag pit windows won't open for at least another 10 laps. So not sure what happened to the 27, but it definitely doesn't seem to be favorable.
We're also seeing a whole lot of battling going on back here as Kenny Powell battling with Greg Wyszynski. Matt DeCiani also in the picture. We talked about how Matt DeCiani finished 10th in both stages. You know, a far cry from what we saw from him last week at the Roval. I mean, it just seems like we saw a spark of the DeCiani we've seen before, and it does not seem like we've gotten that spark back here tonight. I'm hoping whatever's going on with that race car, they can fix it, because he needs to have some good finishes. Even though he had a good finish there at the Roval, he needs to have more good finishes.
Yeah, Derek Heitman is definitely out to the longest lead that anyone has had tonight, as he has got over a second lead to P2, the 92 of Clayton Hoffman. Just be a matter of time before Hoffman does start to reel him in. But, you know, that's very interesting because we are 55 laps to go in this thing. Still got a little bit of ways to go before we're actually in that green flag pit stop window. But it's just interesting to see it. Definitely how much fall off different drivers have had throughout the field, Brian, as we are all shook up.
Yeah, we definitely are. I mean, Al Kozlowski is falling back all the way to 6th. He was your leader just not that long ago.
You know, that's the thing. You got to pace yourself in these situations, man, because if you get out there and you're running, like, look at where Mark Pageant is. He's running a solid P4 right now, you know, but he is still, you know, definitely feeling the effects of the time where he was running out front there unscathed.
Yeah, for sure. But he's also probably even feeling some of the effects of smacking the wall.
Yeah,
still not too bad. I mean, lap time wise, he's not slow. So, I mean, definitely seems like he's recovered here, as we see kind of a stack up back here as Greg Wyszynski's trying to hold off Matt DeCiani, who I was just speaking about earlier. Kenny Powell has been falling back. I mean, he was looking really strong in those stages earlier. Something maybe have changed with that race car. Maybe an adjustment just didn't go well.
So when are you pitting? I mean, that's my question. Like, what are you looking at? Are you coming as soon as the green flag pit window opens? Or are you going to stay? And what's your strategy here? What are you looking at?
I'd say I'd be wanting to try to split it in half as best as I could. That way I'd have, better tires, for longer there. So, I mean, I probably would maybe pit 90, 95, 100, somewhere in there. I think that's where we're probably going to see the majority of drivers start to pit. Derek Jacobs, I think we're still on pit road, but we see Randy Drumhiller starting to make his presence known on the edge of the top 10 here, or actually has worked his way into the 10th position. Good job to him, that 44. Kind of a sad, thing there. When Randy Drumhiller was kind of, cut from the playoffs, I mean, he has been doing so good.
You mean lap 2 of last week?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was just a heartbreaker, wasn't it?
Well, lap 1, actually. It was the first turn.
Just a heartbreaker in a lot of ways.
Yeah, totally understand what you're saying, but Heitman's still putting his lead out there. I mean, I don't know what's really going on. I think everybody else is just kind of relaxing a little bit, and right now he's still in his prime, man. But I'm interested to see how far he does fall, if he falls at all.
Lap time wise, these guys are falling off quite a bit.
Almost 2 seconds off the bestest, right?
Yeah, really. I mean, fastest times, of course, have been a 30.2. Right now, we're seeing 31.9, 32-second laps. So yeah, almost 2 seconds to fall off. I don't have any doubts we're going to get that far. I think these guys are definitely have their work cut out for them when it comes to these tires. Probably a struggle to drive around this place right now.
Yeah, and that's the key. This is the longest that any of these guys have gone here so far tonight. So, well, not
Yeah, they
no,
believe
that's
33. Well, yeah, we are. We are the longest these guys have gone. We're 33 laps into this stage, Big Al. You're right on the money.
And here the 27 is coming back onto the race surface. Now he's going to come right back out in the thick of things. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
So yeah, I say in the next probably 10 or so laps, that's when guys are going to be starting to make their way down, as we see Matt DeCiani working his way by Greg Wyszynski. Oh, Wyszynski into the outside wall.
Big wiggles.
Yeah, definitely. It's at that point we're in unknown territory. A lot of these guys don't know how their cars are going to handle it at this part.
Doesn't seem to, well, the 76 is now, his lead is cut down to under a second. So Clayton Hoffman is definitely starting to reel him in.
Yeah, he definitely is, very much so. I mean, last time by, Derek Heitman hit a 32.008. Clayton was 0.2 faster than that. You know, he is running him down. And I'm sure Derek probably a little disappointed. I mean, he probably thought, hey, I'm going to get out here and run away. And I know Derek is capable of things like that.
Well, now it's going to be interesting to see how long Derek's going to be able to run before he actually has to bring it down on pit road, because it's just going to be a matter of time before it just gets to the point where it's just not going to be fun to drive anymore, right? It's going to be more like work. And that's what we're waiting on. That's what we're waiting to see right now. How long can you go? Not how low can you go, but how long can you go?
Wow, Clayton Hoffman last time by 31.5. I mean, that is faster than everybody in this field by like 0.4. He's definitely showing he's got some long run pace as he gets up to the bumper there of the 76. It's not quite that time to pit though for this. Oh, contact with the walls is 92. Gets into the outside wall, and I'll tell you exactly why that happened. He got closer and closer to that 76. The downforce starts going away when you get closer to that 76, and that's exactly kind of what just caused him to have that handling will get tight. And luckily he didn't hit it hard. I don't think he's out of it yet, but that just shows it's going to be difficult for him to pass.
Yeah, when that wall grabs you, I mean, it really just kind of sucks you in, and it won't let you go, and you're like, let go. But yeah, definitely understand what you're saying. Makes total sense.
So he's now going to run the top, try to get as much clean air as he can. Kind of back to what we saw in stage 2, but Heitman's not going to let him have that lane. He's going to try to block him as much as he can here. And you can even see a little bit of that damage on the right front.
Yeah, I don't think Heitman's going to have much of a choice, though. I think he's just going to be sliding further and further away back as the 14 to Jeffrey Souza now comes down pit road. He is going to be the first taker. That means green flag pit stops are now in progress with 43 laps to go here in this contest.
Yeah, I think a lot more guys are going to start coming soon, but we're still a little bit early. I'm surprised Sousa decided to go so early.
Nope, here comes the 2 as well. Mark Paget coming down pit road.
Could be a plan there for those triad guys, possibly.
78 also coming down. That's going to put Andrew Griesbaum down on pit road.
It seems like these guys came as soon as the window opened. It seems like.
Well, that's going to put them in the car for the longest run of the evening yet.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it set up that way, you really can't bank on cautions here because there haven't been any. As Clayton Hoffman now makes his way around the 76 of Derek Heitman. Now it's Kosowski comes down pit road.
Yeah, a lot of guys peeling off right now. So if the math works for him.
Don Avery down pit road. Here comes Mullins. John Mullins.
And now 41 laps into this run. So this is actually probably the perfect time, yeah, because this is splitting it right in half.
There's Derek Heitman. But now,
yeah, I don't blame this call from Heitman, just considering he had just got passed from Clayton Hoffman there.
But now look at the lead that Clayton Hoffman has now over the rest of the field. And you got to take this into consideration because he's at the pit and he's still running sub 32 laps. So there's no telling when he's actually going to pit. If he has that car set up where it's going to be running best in the long distance, I mean, yeah, that's what these guys should be worried about right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of value to long pitting instead of short pitting, you know. Because, yeah, I understand when you short pit, you get track position, but you're going to be struggling later in the run. You know, Clayton's kind of like, hey, I mean, my car's good on the long run, so, you know, why not go a little bit longer and then have newer tires later? Definitely not a bad call. I mean, as we're now, you know, 38 laps to go. Now to be 37, actually. It's Clayton Hoffman still has yet to pit. We have only the top 5 are on the lead lap right now, and they are very far from one another. Matt DeCiani down pit road.
Also, the 5 of Wachinski and Kenny Powell also pitted. Clayton Hoffman now pitting.
Also, Randy Drumhiller taking it down. You see Derek Heitman had pitted. Now he is right there with Mark Pageant. So battle, I do believe, for what is theoretically going to be the lead here. Because I don't think Clayton's going to remain in the lead. I think he's going to have to fight his way back up. But he's going to have a lot better tools to do it. That's for sure. I don't know, though. Don Avery's actually in front of these guys.
Yeah, but, you know, when these guys get 30-plus laps on their tires, it's going to be a whole different ball game.
Yeah, and this is the most likely time we see a caution, too. When you see guys on different sets of tires, you know, varying speeds. As I do believe Don Avery and actually Jeffrey Souza starting to tussle. Souza was the first man down pit road. So, I mean, yeah, Souza was able to get some track position out of that exchange, but looking at his lap times, he's running, you know, 2 or 3 tenths slower than Don Avery. So that's where that short pit game kind of has its disadvantages, because when those guys that pitted after you catch you, you're not going to be able to defend them.
Yeah, winning Grassi down pit road. Brian Johnson being shown as your leader now.
Yeah, Brian Johnson, the last man to go down pit road. He's definitely got to be praying for a caution or something to come out here to help him out. His lap times are definitely very well off the pace. 32.8 last time by. Clayton Hoffman has made it by Al Kozlowski, so he is now up into, I do believe, 6th place. But Brian Johnson is still your leader. So I do believe that is going to give Jeffrey Souza the lead. Of course, Don Avery right there behind him. As we now have, I do believe, 33 laps to go. I don't know. It's going to be difficult for Clayton to be able to make it all the way back up here, Big Al. That's a kind of a big ask. I mean, he's back there in 6th place, some 14 seconds back from the leader here.
Yeah, we're talking about Clayton Hoffman, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. We talk about practice.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you just watch it tick down.
Jeffrey Souza doing a great job of somehow holding off Don Avery on the newer tires. You see, there is Brian Johnson coming out of pit road right now. He's going to be actually going a lap down because he stayed out so long. But, I mean, I understand the thought process. You know, try to do what you can. Do a quick rundown to the field as we've had those green flag pit stops. Jeffrey Souza right now as the leader. Don Avery second place. Derek Heitman in third. Clayton Hoffman fourth. Mark Pageant fifth. Sixth place Al Kozlowski. Seventh Kenny Powell. Eighth place Andrew Layton. Ninth place Andrew Griesbaum. So battle of the Andrews there. And rounding out our top 10, Matt DeCiani.
That's going to put Greg Wachinski in 11th with John Mullins in 12th. Randy Drumhiller 13th. Wayne Grossi 14th. Brian Johnson 15th. Mark Sanchez in 16th. And Derek Jacobs is going to be in 17th as he did spend some time and down and away on pit road, Brian.
Clayton Hoffman just made his way back around Derek Heitman here to capture the third place position. You also see Al Kozlowski not far behind here. Mark Sanchez, or Mark Pageant, I should say, trying to catch up here. Of course, he does have front end damage, just like Clayton Hoffman has it, but I do believe the hit was a lot harder for Mark Pageant. Yeah, I almost feel like Don Avery and Jeffrey Souza have a little bit of an alliance going here. I think they're just like, hey, let's just work together. I'm not going to try to pass you. But I think in a lot of ways, though, it could be Don Avery's like, hey, I'm going to save my tire so I have him when it's time to make that move.
Yeah, it's almost time.
Yeah, it definitely is. We're now under 30 laps remaining here in the Jay Leno's Garage 200.
And look who's right there in their rearview mirror.
Yep, Clayton Hoffman on the march. Only, I do believe, now a second back from Jeffrey Souza and company. It's crazy after these green flag pit stops. All these guys are all up on top of each other again. So it just shows you the skill level of these guys. Because green flag pit stops are not easy. I mean, it's easy to go down pit road under a caution, but when you're going down there under a green flag, it's quite a lot of pressure. You mess that up, you throw your race away.
Yep, with 27 laps to go in this thing, looks like Clayton is going to be slowly reeling these guys in, and we're getting ready to get ourselves back to racing here as Don Avery's going to be doing everything he can to maintain his lead. And go, Jeffrey, go. I do believe it's time to say that right here, as we're going to be wanting him to be able to defend his position, but nope, just like that, Clayton Hoffman's going to get by him on the outside.
Yeah, what a move there for Don Avery, but we'll have to see if he can hold on to that lead. As Clayton Hoffman has moved back up to the top again. It seems like he hasn't learned his lesson yet, Big Al, because he keeps going up there, but he keeps getting bitten by that wall. But, oh, here he goes. He's changing it up. He's on the bottom. I think he might have been trying to psych out Don Avery in a way, saying, hey, yeah, I'm going up here to the top.
Well, I don't think Avery's going to do much to block him. It's just way too many laps to go. We still got 25 laps to go in this thing. So, you know, best chance here is just to kind of try to maintain as much of the draft as you can, as Clayton's going to get in that clean air. And I do believe, barring some late unforeseen caution, man, he's probably going to put a little bit of distance between himself and P2.
And here comes Derek Heitman, going to be trying to get around Jeffrey Souza here. And Souza, of course, is on the oldest tires. He gets really loose. Wow. That is going to make things easy for Derek Heitman.
Now, watching Heitman, hoping that he can actually seal the deal here, close the deal, get a good finish, man. It will be, you know, for as much time as he has spent up here in the top 10 tonight, I mean, he needs to be able to finish somewhere in the top 5 or even on the podium. You know, anything short of that is going to be disheartening there for that team, man. They need some good luck right now.
See Clayton Hoffman there putting Derek Jacobs down another lap here. I do believe Brian Johnson has unlapped himself. Clayton Hoffman, he's doing Clayton Hoffman things. He's driving away. Is Don Avery now going to be having to contend with the 76? And I do believe we're verging on almost 20 laps to go.
Yep, just 22 laps left here. It'd be 21 down at the line. And right now, Clayton Hoffman is going to be trying to do everything in his power to leave the field behind.
And then 20 after that, and then 19 after that, right?
Yep. And I hope that these guys, I'm not going to put a name attached to that, but I hope these guys can still stay focused on the bigger picture. You don't want to burn your tires up here trying to chase a guy. That you said the carrot on a stick mentality. You don't want to burn your tires up at this point because you don't want to have to make an additional stop. I mean, it's still a lot of laps left to put on these tires, man. And these guys, some of them might have burned them up a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, Zal Kozlowski's trying to catch up there to Mark Pageant.
Oh, just like that. Somebody is in the wall, man. I do believe that was going to be Greg Watinsky. No, not Greg Watinsky.
Who was it, Big Al?
The 31 of Mark Sanchez, I do believe.
Yeah, I see him down on the apron right now. He has been holding strong all race, running a qualifying setup. Just so unfortunate for him, to have your playoff hopes kind of be down to this. I mean, he's got to be trying to win next week, that's for sure.
Yeah, he is the recipient of a meatball flag after that contact. Pretty brutal shot there he took into the wall. Right when I saw it happen, my camera jumped, so I was trying to figure out what car it was. I was hoping that it wasn't the 31, but yeah, it looks like his woes are going to continue here tonight, Brian.
You definitely hate to see it, but it happens. But I mean, that just goes to show you got to be prepared for these races, even though it happens to all of us. It's one thing that you can't let that happen if you're trying to go after a championship. I mean, it's just like in real racing, you can't make a mistake like that.
I mean, no, you got to be dang near perfect in order to get a championship, or you just got to be dang good. So they don't just give these things away, Brian.
Tell you what, though, next week's going to be pretty crazy, Big Al. We're going to Martinsville.
What do you mean crazy? Why would that be crazy?
It's Martinsville. I mean, when has Martinsville not been crazy?
The week before and the week after?
Well, you know how it is when it comes to these short tracks, especially a track like Martinsville where very, very difficult to pass. We're going to see some tempers flare, I do believe.
No, I think everybody's going to be on their best behavior.
I'm so glad that you have so much opportunity. You're an opportunist, sir. No, not opportunist. What am I thinking of?
Optimist.
Optimist, that's it.
It's okay, buddy. I'm going to be here all night. And y'all thought he was heavy.
What does that mean? I got to have you explain everything to me tonight.
Nothing, little buddy. We're good to go. Does it bother you that I call you little buddy?
It did before. I know you've said it before, and it's bothered me, but it's all right, Big Al.
It's a term of endearment.
It's all right, little Al.
Hey, I'm little Al to my mama. My daddy's actually Big Al.
That's right. Definitely a lot of playoff hopes not going the way I'd say they could here. Andrew Griesbaum, he's sitting back here running 13th. Just unfortunate. I mean, he needs all the points he can get. I mean, these guys are putting themselves in must-win situations when you come to a track like Martinsville. I mean, that is not a track I want to go to and say I need to win here. You know what I mean?
And that's what Sanchez was saying. This was the best opportunity that they would have to actually get a W, because it's a lot easier to roll the dice at Vegas than it is to try to win a race at Martinsville. Clayton Hoffman still putting on a Clayton clinic, if you will. Over 3 seconds there on P2 Heitman, and now also going to be watching. I'm hoping that Heitman can pull this thing off, man, and at least get in the top 5 here tonight. I mean, he needs that. His team needs that. They've come out here and they've run some great races, man, but just come up short on the finish. So hopefully that group will be able to get it together and keep it going and put that car on the podium.
Yeah, definitely got to be hoping that for sure. And I actually misspoke. Next week's not Martinsville. I was looking at the schedule. It's actually Homestead. The week after that is Martinsville. So Homestead, another really tricky track when it comes to saving tire.
Yeah, it's a tricky track to say the least, man. And it's not a track that you can just jump on and run. You gotta have a certain key for that little bad boy.
Yeah, I mean that is a true oval. I'd say.
Not one of Big Al's favorite tracks. I'll just say that.
Well, I mean, it just doesn't run like a lot of these other tracks. I mean, it's a true oval in the sense that there's none. It's not a D-shaped oval. It's a 1.5 for sure, but it's just weirdly shaped to where you can run top line, you can run bottom line, but it's literally all about tires. That is what that track is all about.
Yeah, 3, 4, 1, and 2. I can't do any of them. 10 to go in this one, though. Looks like Clayton's getting it done. He is now pulled back up to the back of the 4, Brian Johnson. Glad to see Johnson back. He had to serve a little bit of a suspension there. Just things didn't work out in his way. But, tonight he is definitely.
I think that was Chris Johnson you're thinking of just had to serve a suspension. I don't believe Brian Johnson
hadn't seen Brian in a while. It's good to see the brothers Johnsons. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct, man. Hadn't seen Brian Johnson out here for a minute, so good to see him back in the field.
I just didn't want Brian Johnson becoming like, I didn't get suspended. But yeah, I mean, good to see him back out here. I mean, surprised that he's not doing as well as we usually see. I mean, I guess he's just got to knock the rust off. I mean, Brian Johnson's very talented race car driver out here in the ISCA.
Absolutely, he's a winner. But yeah, the person that I'm worried about, I think Clayton's probably going to be hanging out back of my hauler here at the end of this thing.
Clayton Powell, huh?
Yeah. Clayton Powell.
Well, just a quick summary of our, kind of a quick rundown of the field here. Clayton Hoffman out in the lead. Derek Heitman's second place. Don Avery's in third. Jeffrey Souza's in fourth. Mark Padgett's in fifth place. Al Kozlowski's in sixth. Matt DeCiani up to seventh, so there's going to be some good points there for him. Eighth place, Kenny Powell. Ninth place, Randy Drumhiller. 10th place, Greg Wachinski.
Yep. Wayne Grossi up to 11th. Andrew Layton in 12th. Andrew Griesbaum, the battle of the Andrews there in 13th. John Mullen slides back to 14th. Brian Johnson 15th, some 1 lap down. Derek Jacobs some 12 laps down is going to be in 16th. And Mark Sanchez 14 laps down, still down on pit road with the repair required flag there on that camp. And we are literally going to be 5 to go here at the line, Brian. So,
yeah, that we are getting ready to put this one in the books and move on to another track. I'm sure a lot of these guys definitely hurting when it comes to these tires. If we'll move on to another track for the Thursday series. We still have some racing to come on Saturday. Kind of a new group of guys, of course, out there running. You'll see some familiar faces, but there are some other guys that run the Saturday series exclusively. Can't wait to see that one. I mean, I hate to say it, Big Al. I know we've said it kind of before off the broadcast. Those Saturday races sometimes can be more exciting than these Thursday races.
Well, I'm not going to say that. You said that. If I do say it, I won't say it anywhere to these Thursday night guys. I mean, come on. But, yeah, you're right, man. But, hopefully we'll have as big of a field as we had here tonight as we were 5 to go, man. 19 cars in a playoff race where there's, half that's still in the playoffs. That's pretty awesome, especially on a Thursday. So, thanks all of these drivers for coming out here, man, giving us their all here tonight. And it's been a great race. We've only had the stage cautions here at 4 to go now. Clayton Hoffman doing his thing. And Derek Heitman looks like he's going to be able to keep it together here, hopefully, and get it in the books. And, man, just an awesome show.
Yeah, for sure. See Clayton Hoppin here coming up on the back of the 64 machine. I do believe John Mullins is going to end up a lap down here. Kind of looking at the cockpit camera here for Clayton.
And look at how high he is going and how close he is to that wall. Little wiggles.
Easily, I'd say a lot of people's championship favorite. We've seen him win a championship before, so it would not surprise a whole lot of people, but still, anything can happen when we're going to a track like Homestead or Martinsville. So difficult to pass. I mean, we saw Clayton today fall back into the field. You can't do that at Martinsville.
Yeah, speaking of passing here, we got the 7 and the 5. Wayne Grossi and Greg Wachinski were battling for what is going to be the 9th place position.
Yeah, that they are. Actually, I do believe that's for the 10th place position there, as Grossi makes the pass there and takes over 10th. As we take the final lap, white flag is out. And Clayton Hoffman, I do believe has got it sewn up as he exits turn 4. And he crosses the start-finish line as our winner.
Yep, that's going to put Derek Heikman coming across the P2. Don Avery, P3. That's going to be your podium, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey Souza, P4. Mark Paget is going to come across in 5th. Al Keselowski having himself a great finish here tonight in 6th with Matt DeCiani in 7th. Randy Drumhiller is going to rebound from last week's atrocities and come home in 8th. Kenny Powell, not as well as he wanted to do, but still coming home in 9th. And Wayne Grossi is going to round out your top 10.
11th place is going to be Greg Wachinski. 12th place, Andrew Layton. 13th, Andrew Griesbaum. 14th, John Mullins. 15th, Brian Johnson. 16th, Derek Jacobs. 17th, I do believe, is Mark Sanchez, and that is our field here. Of course, Chris Severa and Paul Olson did not make the grid here tonight, unfortunately. I'd love to see a Thursday with Chris Severa racing, but that is a no-no. But great race here tonight. Let's take a moment. We haven't had a whole lot of time to play that UXO commercial. Let's take a step away, and we'll get right back with our post-race show.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for our post-race show after the Jay Leno's Garage 200. We have our third place finisher here in the booth, Don Avery. How you doing, man? I mean, great job, too. You led some laps out there tonight, and you finished third. Not a bad day at all.
No, I'll take it. It was a pretty good day for us.
Yeah, definitely was. I mean, you know, what do you think that does for your championship hopes coming into this thing?
Well, I'm not in the championship.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. My fault. Still, we've been doing good all season, though. I mean, does this maybe make you feel like you might have a chance for a championship next season?
If Clayton moves on, maybe.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think you selling yourself short. You've been getting better and better and better. I know at some points we've seen you have problems when it comes to maybe getting caught up in things, but you've been able to kind of alleviate that and put yourself in better positions, and you're getting podiums. I mean, you got to be feeling good with that.
Yeah, definitely. The better races I've been running here lately have felt good. I'm just off just a tiny bit today at Vegas. The center of 3 and 4. I haven't figured that out yet. But I put down some pretty good laps and feel good with the finish. So.
Yeah, you definitely put some really good laps down. I mean, you're one of the fastest drivers out there. You kind of utilize the top side a lot more than a lot of guys we saw out there too. Tell us a little bit about that, the difference in the lines there.
I basically only ran the outside if somebody got under me. I think you wear your tires out a lot up there. I tried to hug that apron as much as I could, especially entering 1 and 3 shallow. Later on,
do apologize. I do believe I heard someone eating some chips or something there, Don. But great job to you. So you're running on the bottom. I mean, I did see the select times I saw you a lot was you running up there, and I think it was when you were trying to battle and defend for position. But so that was burning the tires up a little bit more than you probably wanted to do it. So how important was it to get that track position and stay out front and get the clean air?
I guess the clean air is something. I was more interested kind of staying out front, not to have to battle people that got by you, 15 or 20 laps into the run. So I just wanted to maintain position as much as I can on the restarts and see where the tire wear fell off after that.
Yeah. Now, were you making any conscious efforts to kind of save that tire? I know you said you knew the bottom was kind of the way to save them, but I mean, or maybe lifting off a little bit earlier or anything like that, or were you just kind of trying to go as fast as you could?
Yeah, it's a trade-off there. The speeds are going to fall off no matter what you do. The basic thing I was trying to do is have even tire wear on my right sides, and I was able to do that and try to make pace at the same time. So I wasn't really saving hard. I was just making sure I didn't burn up the right rear or the right front, enter and exit in the corners.
Yeah, definitely don't want to slide them too much. Definitely at Vegas, and you seem like you had a good way of doing that for sure. Top 3 car all day long. Great job to you, man. How you feeling though? Homestead's going to be next week.
It's been a while since I run at Homestead, so it'll be interesting to see how I can do there. But I'm sure Triad, we'll get some practice in and get a good setup going, just like we did this week, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely a very unique racetrack when it comes to the NASCAR schedule, like a true oval. That is what it is, and really puts it into the driver's hands, wouldn't you say?
I guess it does. It's going to be just as similar as any other track. You're going to save tires. You just got to find a good line around the corners there. Like I said, it's been a while since I've run there, so I'm not familiar with what I'm going to have to do yet, but we'll figure it out. And hopefully we'll have a good finish next week.
Yeah, sounds like to me it's time to get to work. Well, we can't wait to see what that holds. I'm sure you'll do just fine with the way you've been progressing and growing as the season's been going on, man. Well, who can we shout out after the third place finish?
Definitely Triad. They put some great sets out today or this week and every week. So we got a lot of practice that went into that. Stand Analyzer again. You guys up in the booth for broadcasting and everything. And Kenny for putting all this on. And I got a shout out to my wife, Sherry.
I should have let Big Al do that. Yeah.
Hey, Sherry. Hope you're watching the race tonight. Shout out to you, man. Congratulations to you, Don, on bringing it home on the podium yet again.
Thanks, Big Al. You guys take care.
All right, that was Don Avery, our third place finisher. Big Al interjecting over here. Why don't you take second place there, Big Al?
Yeah, okay. Hey, Derek, this is Big Al up at the booth. You got me?
What's going on, big guy?
Hey, man, congratulations to you for actually bringing it home. I mean, you guys have showed tremendous pace all season, but you have not always able to get it home, there with a decent finish. But tonight you brought it home in P2, man. So congratulations. How much work did you put into this? Because we kind of saw you really drive from the back of the field all the way up to the front, and that's got to be two things: pace and patience, right? So talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I put in enough work to really screw up my qualifying lap, you know what I'm saying? So I haven't really put in a lot. It's just something that I've learned, being a part of the program that I'm in over here. It's that you just kind of have to find a pace, start on that pace, and tell yourself you're not going to change that pace for the entire race. Unless it comes to something silly like a green white checkered or having to have like a short 10 lap stint or something. Whatever pace you decide you're going to run for that race, you just stick with that pace no matter what. It'll pay dividends. It'll take care of the tires. It'll keep your lap times consistent, and it'll pay off for you in the end.
Hey man, you know what? I just want to applaud you for your maturity. I mean, for someone who has not been in the iRacing series as long as some of the other guys, you have definitely shown tremendous maturity. And to hear you say things like that, man, kudos to you because it does make sense. And I'm glad because I was watching you up front, and I don't know if you're going to go back and watch this and maybe throw some. If you're gonna throw a rock, throw him at Brian because he might have said that you, but yeah, you did do that. You preserved, you
Hold on,
conserved the
what?
tires. Excuse you. But you did what you needed to do to be up front, man, and stay relevant. And that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I qualified terrible. And I was patient through the stages. It's just one of those things where if I wanted to, I could have drove through the field and been top 5 at the end of stage 1 if I really wanted to. But it's just all about maintaining that pace and seeing where you're at. I think I found my way up to 7th at the end of stage 1, and then at the end of stage 2, I found my way to 4th because a couple guys got by me. I had to repass them on the run. Found my way to 4th, and after that, it was kind of, a lot easier because the clean air does definitely make a difference with the downforce of the car and being able to save the tires. Um, iRacing definitely needs to do something about the drafting model on this game because it's just a drive away unless your name's Clayton, of course. But all in all, it was a good, fun race. Definitely the best race I've been in this league.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you did get out front and lead quite a few laps. So congratulations on that. Uh, how does this track stack up? Is this one of your favorite tracks, though, or?
But you know the story, Al. I mean, it's my first time ever being here on iRacing. Is it one of my favorites?
I don't know.
As it sits right now, I'm gonna say no. I'm just gonna be dead honest. I don't really like it.
Really?
Particularly because of the draft model. I mean, as far as this pack racing, keeping everybody close. No distinguish in pace or. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you could have so much better tires and be 20% better on your tires, and the guy behind you can. Or let's not go that extreme, but 10-15% better on your right sides than the guy behind you, and the guy behind you is going to keep it within a half second on you because the draft is just keeping them there. Like I said, iRacing needs to do something to fix that, and once they do fix that, then it probably will turn into one of my favorite tracks. But as it sits right now, I'm gonna have to push it to the back of the line.
Well, you know what? You still came here and did pretty dang good because all through all three stages, I mean, you were up there. Next week we're going to Homestead. I don't know if that's going to be any different. I mean, you're laughing, so what? Talk to us about that. What are your thoughts
Uh,
on Homestead?
I mean, it's gonna be one of my first. It will be my first time there on iRacing. If I'm gonna sound like a complete noob saying this, but if it's anything like it raced in NASCAR Heat 5, it's loose off of 4, and you can make the high line work. So that game does translate over a little bit in iRacing, just disregarding the draft and the tire model. But as far as what I learned on that game, the force feedback in the wheel, being able to tell when you're loose, tight, all that, it translated pretty good. So it helps me out. with that information. I'm just gonna have to work work in our Sunday test session, find my pace, and hope to make something happen for you all again.
All right. So, did we make a prediction last week?
Um, I don't know. You tell me.
All right. So we're gonna have to make a prediction for next week. I mean, where are you gonna be? Yeah, we made a prediction last week. So the question is, where are you gonna be next week? You see yourself front, mid, back?
A little bit of both, probably. There's one thing about, I've realized with this particular league is I'm not the kind of driver that like tries to push really hard for short run pace. So I have trouble in stage 1 and stage 2 with you know, the shorter stages just because it's not really my driving style. And I also have this other bad habit too is if I do push the car or try to run that short run pace in the race, when I need the long run pace, I can't get myself off that short run pace because I just figured out what I could do with the car, so it just drives me nuts. So I just force myself not to do it. I'll predict myself in the top 5 next week, but you know, it's all dependent on particularly particular people that show up that I know that can give me a run for my money every single week.
Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. Derek Heitman predicts himself in the top 5, which could be a podium as well. Well, congratulations to you tonight, sir. Even though this was your first time at this track, it did not look like that, as you definitely held your own and you showed that you definitely have a place in this league. So with that, who was shouting out for your second place finish here this evening?
Always got to shout out my garage, raceepi.com. Every Sunday, I mentioned it. You go through our Sunday test session and you gather a lot of information from a Coke driver that passes information on to you. Now I know that the setups that he puts out, there's zero chance, that he'd put it out on his Coke set, just like Clayton doesn't, build for Reaper the same setup that he drove tonight. So but every little bit of information that you get definitely helps. It definitely takes you to the next level, and helps gather better finishes. And then obviously my teammates Matt and Mark. Unfortunately, Mark had a technical difficulty in the garage tonight. His crew chief didn't know what the hell he was doing. But if it weren't for Matt, I wouldn't be here. For one, because I wouldn't know about the league, and two, if it weren't for Matt, I probably wouldn't have been level-headed enough to stick with EPI. Just because I'm so new to iRacing, I wanted to go out and set up shop. Jump here, jump there. I even took a look at Reaper, who Clayton builds for, just because racing B car Tommy Gossett just kills it. But Team EPI definitely where it's at. It's a great community, a lot of good people, and they'll help you improve your craft.
Well, definitely it shows because your craft is definitely growing, sir. It's always a joy to watch you. Congratulations for actually bringing it home tonight, closing the deal, getting those biscuits on the table. Everybody in your team is going to enjoy that, man. And we're looking forward to see you next week. Thanks again for your time. Congratulations. Good evening.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, definitely going to be getting some biscuits. But I'll tell you who's getting the cheddar biscuits. Going to be our next driver, Clayton Hoffman, up in the lead, able to win the race. At the first parts, a couple times in the races, I was starting to doubt you a little bit, Clayton. I mean, but it seemed like it was according to plan. You'd fall back and then just drive your way back forward. And we even saw some, you running that Larson line absolutely at the top. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. Walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, in order to run the top, you got to save the right front, and unfortunately, I was a little tight on entry into 3. So if I was trying to push it at all, or if I just was pushing it a little bit too much, it seemed like the right front would just go after a while. So that first or that second stage, I kept it on really good, and I was able to just go up there. I knew just from a couple testing laps that speed was up there. It's just with the way that this tire works, it's very predictable. You run the bottom to save the tire, and sometimes at a track like here at Vegas, where you got those extra bumps and you got the progressive banking, you can get some speed for a couple laps running a little different line.
Yeah, we saw that. You seemed like maybe that was a experimental phase you were having in stage 2 there, kind of to see what it would do and how long it would last. We did see, you did end up hitting the wall a little bit though. I mean, was that concerning at all?
No, these cars are tanks. Unless you break a toe link, you can pretty much repair them to 100%. So yeah, it wasn't really a concern. The only concern was just that I lost some positions because of it.
We still managed to grab the win, and I do believe going to be pretty safe going into the next round. Got to be pretty happy about that. I know we didn't see you have the best finish last week at the Roval. But you came here, you did what needed to be done. I mean, how does that do for your confidence level? Do you feel like, hey, I'm champion, I'm going to be the champion?
Yeah, it's pretty high. Been really good mile and a half. So we're gonna go Homestead next, and I think the last short track I remember racing was Martin or not Martinsville, but Richmond. I was really fast there too. So yeah, I think I'll still be pretty good at those last couple tracks we got left.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of you talking about Martinsville, we're going to be going to after Homestead, which then after that we go to Phoenix for the final race there. I mean, what is your feelings on those tracks coming up? I mean, you feel like you're going to be good there? I mean, it was so incredibly hard to pass at a track like Martinsville.
Yeah, yeah, Martinsville's definitely gonna be challenging, especially with how the brakes work in this car. So it'll be interesting to see like what's really good at Martinsville, and Phoenix is just gonna run same thing as the mile and a half in Richmond, except you'll just have to drive it the short track way, and a Homestead is just a kind of like a what we have left from old Atlanta, where it's got a worn out surface. You got to slow down in the corners, and it's gonna eat your tires up if you go hard.
Yeah, it's definitely a true oval. That track is for sure, and a lot of people. I mean, heck, I'm one that I don't know how to handle that racetrack. It's just there's no kid gloves at a track like Homestead. That's for sure. But I can't wait to see what that looks like for you. I know you've always been great at saving tires, and I know you'll always bring the right equipment to the race. So I expect we'll see some strength from you next week. Who can we give a shout out after this win here tonight?
Shout out to Legacy Esports, all the guys over there, Blackstone Management, Green Mountain Grills, Champion Legion, Reaper Speed Labs, all the other sponsors we got. Um, just gave me the opportunity to join the team early this year after Daytona week, and I've been able to pick up a lot of speed, learn a lot of stuff, and here we are, winning a bunch of races.
Well, I mean, definitely been learning a lot of stuff. I mean, your iRating version on now 7,000. You got to be feeling pretty cool about that. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that can reach that milestone.
Yeah, it feels good. iRating really just comes down to your finishes. So you have a couple bad finishes, it takes a big hit. So really, pushing up really high with all those pros and stuff. It's all about consistency and finishing through all that. It's not something I always have gone for, but it definitely does feel good just to watch that number kind of slowly go up.
Yeah, and you're not doing it the bad way too. You got a 499 SR there, so great job to you, Clayton. We appreciate you coming in here and chatting with us.
Hey, can I say something before Mr. Hoffman?
Oh, here we go.
Clayton, I tonight for whatever reason I had Clayton Powell stuck in my head. So if you go back and you watch this, I probably called you Clayton Powell 15 times, sir. But I got it right when it counted. I just wanted to apologize to you for that.
No worries, Al.
It was funny. I mean, I'll tell you, Clayton, I wouldn't be mad. I think it was funny, to be honest with you. I was cracking up having to mute myself so it wouldn't be on the broadcast. But great job to you, Clayton. Congratulations on your win. Can't wait to see you at Homestead next week.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty, that was Clayton Hoffman, our winner here tonight for the Jay Leno's Garage 200 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. As we said before, we're going to be going to, I do believe, Homestead next week. But before that, Saturday, make sure you tune in. Around 9:15 is when the broadcast should be going live. The race will start about a little bit after 9:30, so make sure you tune in. We'll be right here back at Las Vegas with a whole new cast of characters. Can't wait to see what that looks like for sure. But, definitely happy to be moving on from this race here tonight because we saw a lot of heartbreak We also saw a lot of Triumph. Great job to Big Al. Appreciate you helping us out. Big shout out to Kenny Powell, putting all this stuff on. And also big shout out to UXO and TLC, for being the title sponsors for this season here. But with that, I do believe we're going to bring this broadcast here to its conclusion. We'll see you next time.